What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a video about the Rogue class in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which is currently in beta. I normally start these off with a brief description of what the class is. However, Rogue is one of those that I think most everybody knows, but to sum it up nonetheless, if you want to sneak around, deal with a variety of typically finesse-based combat, as well as get in some sneak attacks, then the Rogue is for you. Now, to jump into the rest of the video here, for class skills, the base Rogue is looking at mobility, athletics, persuasion, trickery, knowledge world, perception, stealth, and use magic device. So, for proficiencies, we are looking at all simple weapons, plus the hand crossbow, the rapier, the sap, short sword, and short bow. They are proficient with light armor, but not with shields. Additionally, rogues will pick up weapon finesse as a feat at first level. This will allow them to use light weapons, made for a creature of their size category, to use their dexterity modifier instead of their strength modifier for attack rolls. Not damage rolls, attack rolls. And then they also pick up trap finding at first level, which lets them add half their level to perception checks. And then, of course, sneak attack. So sneak attack is, of course, our extra damage from being a rogue and sneaking up on people. So the way this actually works in-game is simply that anytime a character would be denied its dexterity bonus to AC, whether or not it actually has a dexterity bonus, you will deal sneak attack damage in addition to your regular damage. This extra damage is 1d6, increases by 1d6 for every extra sneak attack dice you get, which a rogue will get every other level, so first 3, 5, that kind of thing. However, you must be able to see the target well enough to pick out a vital spot, and must be able to reach said spot. Now, in-game, that doesn't amount to much. Basically, if you're flanking a target or attack them from stealth or invisibility, you're going to get your sneak attack dice, but just some things to keep in mind there for a little flavor. There is actually a cap on the number of sneak attack dice you can have. It is typically half your level rounded up. So at level 1, you'll get this, and it's always going to be 1 regardless. That's why you get these every other level, so at level 3, it'll round up to 2 for your sneak attack dice. Now at level 20, we also get Master Strike, which means anytime we deal sneak attack damage at level 20, if the target fails a fortitude save, it just flat out dies. However, if they make the save, they're immune to that effect for 24 hours. Now, at second level, base class rogues pick up Evasion, which lets them make successful reflex saving throws, reduce damage entirely instead of taking it to half damage. At fourth level, rogues can pick up a debilitating injury, so they can choose to apply one of a couple of debilitating injuries when they sneak attack. So Bewildered will cause the target to take a -2 penalty to its AC from everyone, as well as an extra -2 against the rogue itself. This will increase at 10th and 16th level by an additional -2. Disoriented will let you make the target take a -2 penalty on its attack rolls, with an additional -2 on attack rolls against the rogue, again increasing at 10 and 16. And then Hampered. Hampered will reduce the target's speed by half, to a minimum of 5 feet. And then at 10th level is when you'll be able to start picking up your advanced rogue talents, which we will get into in just a second. So rogue talents are extra things a rogue can pick up. They can be feats, they can be other things specific to the rogue. And at 10th level, you can choose to take the rogue talents that are marked with the advanced prerequisite. So starting at second level and every other level after that, so 2, 4, 6, that kind of thing, you'll be able to pick up rogue talents. Now again, these can be tons of stuff. They can add extra stuff to your sneaking ability, extra things to your sneak attack. You can choose to use this to just pick up feats. You can do a lot of stuff with these rogue talents, and it really helps diversify what the rogue is good at. Now at 3rd level, 11th level, and 19th level, we pick up Finesse Training. This will basically let you select a weapon type that can be used with weapon finesse. And when you make a successful melee attack with that kind of weapon, you will add your dexterity modifier instead of your strength modifier to the damage roll. Now, any effect that would cause your strength modifier to not affect the roll will actually also prevent the dexterity modifier from working here as well. And then the 11th and 19th level selections will just let you choose an extra weapon to be able to do this with. Now, at 3rd level and every 3 levels after that, we can pick up Danger Sense, which will give us an ever-increasing bonus on reflex saves against traps, as well as a +1 dodge bonus to AC against attacks made by traps, which just helps us avoid getting hit by traps. Then we pick up Uncanny Dodge. So sneak attack is a very strong ability, and there are ways to prevent it from happening as often. Uncanny dodge is one of those. So this will cause your character to not be able to be caught flat-footed, basically preventing sneak attack damage and lowering their AC. You won't lose your dex bonus to AC, which is what flat-footed means, if your attacker is invisible. However, you will still lose this bonus if you are immobilized, or your opponent uses something like a feint action. Now, at 8th level, you'll pick up improved uncanny dodge, which will actually prevent you from being flanked as well, which will take away most of the ways you could be sneak attacked at that point. However, again, you can still be immobilized and sneak attacked that way. Now that brings us to our first archetype, the Eldritch Scoundrel. So these guys are pretty interesting. They actually lose some of their talents as well as their sneak attack. However, they pick up a lot of stuff in the trade-off. So for starters, they'll get the Scribe Scrolls crafting feat at level 1. They will also be able to detect magic at level 1. They will lose their light armor proficiency, so they will no longer be proficient with armor. They'll have to wear robes or things like that. Also, they will lose their uncanny dodge abilities. However, what they gain in return is spellcasting ability. So they will become arcane casters. This is why they lose their armor proficiency, because arcane casters have a chance to fail their spells when wearing armor. They will get spells just straight from the wizard list, basically the same way a wizard does, which means intellect will be their casting stat. Now the trade-off here is of course, obviously you're not going to be doing as much sneak attack damage. You're losing a lot of your defensive abilities. And moreover, if you still want to use a weapon, you're essentially going to be forced to either forego a bonus on your melee weapons or try to split it between, say, dexterity and intelligence, which is going to be a rough time. So just something to keep in mind as you do it. Now, you might be wondering, can you get sneak attack damage with your spells? Because that would be a bit of a game changer. The answer is yes, you can. However, as far as I'm aware, in order to be a sneak attack, the spell actually has to require a ranged attack roll, which isn't that uncommon. Otherwise, it's not considered an attack in the traditional sense, so you wouldn't get your sneak attack damage on spells that don't require a ranged attack roll. That's my understanding of it. But with that out of the way, moving on, that sums up the Eldritch Scoundrel. So let's talk Knife Master. So we're going to trade out Trap Finding for Sneak Stab. This is going to give us 1d8s that we roll our sneak attack damage with instead of 1d6s. But only when we're using a dagger, kukri, a punching dagger, a star knife, or a sai. Any weapon that is not one of those will use 1d4s instead of 1d6s, which means you're forced into using some kind of dagger if you want your extra damage, otherwise you're taking a penalty. In addition to this, Danger Sense gets traded out with Blade Sense. So the Knife Master will get extra dodge bonus to their AC against attacks made to them by light blades. This increases by +1 every 3 levels up to a maximum of +6 at 18. So that brings us to the Sylvan Trickster. The Sylvan Trickster is a little interesting. So they lose their dodge ability. However, they do gain a damage reduction to everything that isn't cold iron, much like the Fae. And they also pick up the ability to use hexes with their rogue talents. So rogue talents for a Sylvan Trickster are called Fae Tricks, which allows them to pick up hexes for rogue talents. But it's also important to note that the trade-off for this is that you can't actually pick a lot of the rogue talents you normally would be able to pick. It trades a lot of them out for the hexes. You can still pick some of them, like the weapon feats and things like that. However, just know that that list changes dramatically from Fae Tricks to regular rogue. And that brings us to the Thug. So the Thug replaces Trap Sense with Frightening. Whenever they use Persuasion to demoralize a creature, the duration of that shaken condition is increased by 1 round. And if a target is shaken for 4 or more rounds, the Thug makes the target frightened for 1 round. They also pick up Brutal Beating at level 3, which will let them forego their sneak attack damage to instead make the target sickened for a number of rounds equal to half the rogue level. However, it does not stack with itself, it only refreshes itself. And that brings us to our last archetype, the Underground Chemist. So the Underground Chemist will forego some of their rogue talents for some very specific things related to alchemy. For starters, they're going to pick up Brew Potions at level 1, which is a crafting feat. And then at second level, they're going to pick up Chemical Weapons. This will let them retrieve alchemical items as if drawing a weapon. It will also allow them to add their intelligence modifier to any damage dealt with splash weapons, which is, like alchemy bombs and stuff. including the splash damage from those weapons, and you also gain Throw Anything as a feat. And then at level 4, they pick up Precise Splash Weapons, which lets them deal their sneak attack damage with splash weapons. And then at level 10, they can pick up Discovery. So this will allow them to trade an advanced rogue talent, or just a regular rogue talent really, for one of the following alchemist discoveries that the alchemist would normally get. So you'll use your rogue level to determine the alchemy level for this, as well as your ability to select that discovery. That, guys, is a look at the rogue in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Again, currently in beta, not everything's in there. For instance, most classes should actually have 6 archetypes by the end of this, so, you know, we'll see what we get. But with that out of the way, truly, just thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. The channel is just exploding lately. I almost don't know what to do with myself. So honestly, just thank you for watching. May you wander in wisdom, and have an amazing day.